Failure is not an option.
I've had my ups and my downs.
I think it's an absolutely breakthrough experience.
Welcome to the Physical Performance Show, the show designed to inspire the pursuit of your physical best performance. I'm your host, Brad Beer. Listen in as we delve into how the world's top physical performers achieve their success, as well as the highs, the lows, and the journey of getting there. Let's get ready, set, let's go. Welcome, listeners, to another episode of the Physical Performance Show, the show that takes you behind the curtain of the lives of the world's best physical performers. I'm your host, Brad Beer. If it's your first time listening in, a big welcome. If you're a return listener, thank you. I trust you'll enjoy this episode and share it around with your fellow peak performers. Listen in as we delve into top physical performers and how they achieve their success. We'll take a behind the curtain look at the highs, the lows, and everything in between on our guest's journey to physical best performance. In today's episode, we have a fireside chat with Australian Triathlon legend Emma Moffatt. Emma Moffatt was the bronze medalist in the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games triathlon and also the 2009 and 2010 World Triathlon Series Female Champion. Emma was also a member of the Australian team in the 2012 London Olympic Games, and this year, 2018, is vying for selection for what will be an incredible third Olympic Games in Rio de Janeiro. Today's show is lovingly brought to you by POGO Physio, the physiotherapy practice that helps you discover your best pain-free performance so that you can do the physical things that you love to do in life. So guys, let's jump right in. So we have Emma Moffatt on the call today, and Emma, it's a pleasure to have you along. I've been keen to get you on the Physical Performance Show for a while now, so thanks for your time.
No worries, thanks for having me.
For the listeners, as per the intro, Emma's an incredible Australian athlete whose triathlon career spans what potentially will be a third Olympics this year in 2016 with the Rio Olympic Games. And some of the highlights of Emma's career have been the World Champion ITU Triathlete 2009 and 2010. And, of course, the bronze medal in the 2008 Beijing Olympic Games. So Moffy, as everyone knows you, tell us something that the world wouldn't know about Emma Moffatt.
I don't know. There's probably a reason. Nothing. People don't know things because you don't want them to know it. So I don't know. Maybe other than triathlon, I don't really get up to too much. I got 7 nieces and nephews, and I probably enjoy just hanging out and getting my kid fix with them when I'm not doing triathlon. But yeah, everything else the world doesn't know. They don't know for a reason.
Wait, so 7 now, that's because I've known you, Emma, for really since probably 1990 when we were both sort of young kids growing up on the north coast of New South Wales in Australia, and both starting sort of surf/triathlon activities. And your dad actually used to be my sports teacher at Grafton High School. And and your sisters and your brother Chris and Beth and Nicole, sorry.
Yep.
They're the ones that have all the seven kids, right?
Yeah, they do, yeah. Yep.
So your Auntie Emma, all of them.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, you'd be very good at it. So what would you rate as your single greatest physical accomplishment? You've done so much in the world of triathlon. If you could pick one memory, what's the most special one for you?
Definitely the 2008 Beijing Olympics is probably my highlight. I think the triathlon and Olympic Games is the pinnacle of our sport. So going there and coming away with a medal is, definitely to me the most proud moment I've had. And I keep it, it's very special for me.
So that was 2008. That was the year Emma Snowsill got up for the gold, and
Yep.
I remember seeing the footage, watching it live, I think it was, and you came around the corner and waving the Aussie flag for bronze. So it was a big day for Australian triathlon, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was very special. I'm not sure how long it will be until Australia does something like that again. So to be a part of that moment with Snowy up on top of the dice was. Yeah, it was very amazing and a memory that I still remember very clearly.
Going into the games, into the Beijing Games 2008, did you know you were in that form? Like, did you know that finishing on with a podium was very real, real possibility?
No, not at all. I think that's why it's probably so special. I just was still quite a young kid back then with no idea what I was really doing, had an Olympic Games. So I kind of just went in there and raced as hard as I could and as well as I could, and I didn't have very much experience at big championship races, so it was very unexpected, but I just found myself in that position, and probably the adrenaline once I got into third spot on the run just kept me going. I was probably hurting but didn't really feel it, so it's a great moment for me.
Wow, how far? When did you run into third in that race? What point did you take the third position? I'm
pretty sure it was a 4-lap run, and I think it was maybe on the third lap that I did that. I ran past Laura Bennett, the American. So it was later into the run. I was up there, but to actually pull clear and into the third spot was third or fourth lap.
And you had your family in Beijing?
I did. Yep, mum, dad, and brother and sisters were all there. So it was a great moment to be able to have them all there and get on the podium, because they'd travelled a long way and spent a lot of money to get up there, and Beijing's not the nicest of places, so I think they probably have fond memories of the place too now.
Yeah, that's amazing. And then the following year, that's obviously when you won your first world title in the series.
Yep.
And then the year after that as well. And 2009, that grand final was on the Gold Coast. What was that like, which you won? What was that like racing, at home in Australia?
Again, that was a very special moment to be able to win my first World Championship on home soil. I literally lived 10k away from the race or whatever, so it was great, and my family were all there once again. So and off this time, lots of friends and people that just follow your career slowly around the years. Everyone got to come up and support me and see it. So it was quite amazing, and probably for me it was nice just to finish the year. I'd had a great year, and then to be able to finish and actually win that race was really the icing on top. Yeah,
well, I imagine half of Woolgoolga, the town you grew up in, was probably there, were they?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe a third.
Yeah.
So, great. And so what's your morning routine look like? I mean, professional triathlete, you spend, what's the breakdown of your year actually, Moffy? You spend how much time in Australia each year?
Well, the season racing starts in around March, so for the months leading into that, because it's our summer here, I get to stay at home and I just do a fair bit of base training and try to get as many kilometres in the legs as possible. And so I do that for a few months over the Christmas period, and then just before March I build up and try to get a little bit of speed into the body before the racing starts. And so I stay at home as much as possible, just because I enjoy the environment here and the support that I have around me. So I stay here until maybe May, June. So go up to Japan, maybe race once more, sometimes over to New Zealand and do a race over there in the meantime. And then, last year I headed over to Boulder for a few months and did a few American races, and because there wasn't really any races in Europe. So, it just kind of depends on the format of the World Triathlon Series and which races I pick out to choose if I go to America or to Europe, or have a little stint in both spots. But I'd like to pick somewhere where I'm familiar with and can get good training facilities and people to train with. So, for me, Boulder was a great choice last year, and I'm hoping to go back there again this year if I make the team. But, so head away racing until end of September is usually our World Championships. And so then come home and do a few races in Australia, and I usually have 4 weeks off in November. So, it's a pretty full-on year, but it's it's always broken down a little bit with getting to travel away to races and going to different destinations. So, it's a long year, but you really enjoy that 4 weeks off.
Yeah, I imagine. Yeah. And have you got a favourite race on the circuit? Just, of all the locations you've raced at on the World Triathlon Series?
I probably love the Hamburg race the most. Just the atmosphere there is incredible. It's a town, they've had the race for well over 10 years. I think I've done the race for 10 years, so it's probably been there for at least 15, maybe 20 years. So it just has built up. It's got a great crowd that come and support it. The town all seem to really embrace it, and it's a beautiful place as well to go. So probably that race is one of my favourite, just purely just because of the atmosphere that the local people come out and make.
The support.
Yeah.
So morning routine, obviously it varies depending on what's on your program, but what did this morning look like? What were you up to this morning? What time were you up?
I got up at 5 to 5 this morning and, went and did a track session up at Griffith, and probably takes about an hour 20. We warm up and cool down, and then, head home and have brekkie and have a quick nap. And then today also I have to ride my bike, do Pilates, and then I do a swim squad this afternoon. So, most days are pretty full. So
and so this year, leading into Rio, what's the selection process look like for you going forwards? What are you sort of targeting?
Well, we have a automatic selection available at the Gold Coast race, which is on April 9th. So first Aussie, I think, in the top 10 gets a spot, and then the other two positions, because we have 3 spots available, the other 2 positions are decided through discretion from the selection panel. So that'll also include, I think, the race in Abu Dhabi, which is coming up, the first race of the series. That can be, I think, included in discretion, and also the Yokohama race, and after Yokohama they'll choose the team.
Okay, so at what point? What date would that be? How far out from the games?
I think it's straight after the Yokohama race, which is maybe the first or second weekend in May. So. Okay,
so then that gives you June, July, August. What day? August of the Olympic Games, or?
August 20 is the female triathlon.
Okay, so you've lived through this process. This is your 3rd time, right? The discretionary triathlon selection process. Is it? What's it like? Explain to listeners what it's like going into an Olympic year where I imagine you don't really feel like you can rest on your laurels at any moment, right?
So for London, I got automatic, or early selection. So that was probably a lot less stressful for me. I just knew from the year before, October, the previous year to the prior year to the Olympics, that I was going. So you could kind of plan everything, and that was pretty nice. But Beijing, I was in exactly the same spot as I am at the moment. So I think it's all right. You want to compete the best you can anyway in any race. And I don't know, for me personally, if I'm not worthy of a spot, I don't want to go to the Olympics. I don't want to take a girl spot who can potentially race better than I can. So, it's a little bit, I think sometimes the discretion can get a bit tricky, but it's like, I think if you've done the performance and you should go, I think if you didn't get selected, then that would be disappointing, but usually I think they will select the right people. So, you just got to perform your best. We're all in exactly the same spot. We know that April is when we can get an automatic, and if we don't do that, we've got to rely on our history. And, I'm pretty happy with how my last year went, and 2013, which is also included. So, it can get tricky, but I don't know.
Everyone's in the same boat, I guess, aren't they?
What happens. If I race well, hopefully it's fair and you get selected. So,
that's so Moffy, would there be 2 stories you've got, interesting, fun stories from leading into Beijing that you can remember? So you lead into what at this stage is your career highlight. Any stories leading to that you think listeners would find interesting that you've got?
I don't really know. No, nothing exciting really happened. I was pretty young. I was excited to go to the Olympics. So
how old were you at that stage?
I would have been 23.
So, yep, 23.
Yeah.
And had you grown up dreaming of the Olympics?
No, never.
Really?
No.
At what point did you start to think, oh, geez, I'm Olympic Games bound?
Probably when I got the phone call and I felt like you're in the team. I had some good races, so I thought that I had an idea that I would get into the team, but I don't know. Everyone's always like, you don't really know until you're told. So I just waited till I got the phone call. So.
And so you were 23,
yeah.
and that phone call came through, and at that point you thought, right, I'm off to the Olympic Games. Then how did your mindset shift from, not really thinking about it much to all of a sudden knowing that you're locked in, ready to go? What was it like? Did you feel pressure, or did you handle that well?
It's probably just a great source of motivation, I think, knowing that I had no pressure. I hadn't been like a standout performer amongst all the countries, so I didn't feel like I had to go there and get a medal. I'm going to an Olympics, and every race I do, I want to do as well as I can. But I think just training and knowing you were going to the Olympic Games is great motivation. So I think I was probably just highly motivated at training, and I think that probably just got me to where I was, just giving it everything for every session that required everything. And it didn't really probably change my mindset that much, other than knowing that I was going to the Olympics and I had actually something really amazing to train for.
Yeah, no, cool. I guess, there's, in terms of the sport, it is the pinnacle, isn't it? So you certainly didn't have anything to prove to anyone. From what I understand, it was just let it all happen and give it your best. So, Moffy, what about a dark period in your career? Was there a time when, as a professional athlete, your commitment sort of has wavered in your career? Yeah,
I think that probably happens regularly. I wouldn't describe it as dark. I would just say that, I don't know, maybe every few months you just get a build-up of fatigue, you're tired, and you just probably, sometimes you struggle a little bit and you're just like, oh, why am I doing this? But it always turns around pretty fast. You go back out and you have a session and you just, I don't know, I just enjoy pretty much all my sessions and the surrounds that I get to be in. Like, I love going to swimming training, riding around the hinterland or going for a run, and I think just appreciating those small things kind of turns those thoughts around, and you realise that you got it pretty good. This is not a bad job. So I always get little bouts of where I'm not motivated, but it never really turns into anything. They're pretty they're extinguished pretty fast. So I think, sports it's a pretty good career to be in. So, I'm just making the most of it while I can, and, just appreciate that I can do it.
Is that your pet cockatoo in the background?
No, it's just a bird outside.
What sort of bird is it?
I don't know.
It sounds like a...
Oh, no, it's a naughty swan.
Well, he's joining us on the chat.
Yeah.
Well, I've been following your career with interest over the years, from knowing you from junior triathlon ranks and your family. Moffy, looking from the outside in, can you share around the London experience for the listeners that may not know? Emma was in the team, and I know I was sitting at my mother's house. My mum obviously knows you as well, Moffy, and was keenly tuned in to see how you'd go and cheering you on. And then for the listeners, Emma had a crash on the bike, and that meant that the race wasn't able to finish. What was that like, Moffy? How did you process that and the disappointment that obviously surrounded that for you?
Yeah, at the time, it was the first lap of the bike, so it was so early into the race, and I think at the time I was just in a bit of shock. I didn't ever calculate that into any race plan or anything like that. I just didn't think about crashing. It wasn't really a possibility, and there I was laying on the ground after half a lap of the bike, and I don't know, I think 13 people crashed on that same corner. So it was, I think I was just in a bit of shock and disappointment, and had to just sit in a little compound right out in front of Buckingham Palace the whole time the race was going, and that was probably the worst part of it, just watching the other girls riding around, just wishing that I was still in that pack. I felt my fittest that I'd ever been.
Wow.
Yeah, and it was just, I think, the what if I was still racing. But then probably a couple of hours later, I don't know, Erin Densham got third, so it was, I don't know, it was still a great day for Australia to get on that podium, and I just thought, oh well, it wasn't me this time, but I think I don't know, it's only sport. I think it's not really the end of the world, so I quickly just turned it around. I was at an Olympics. I wanted to be able to enjoy the rest of the Olympics and go and watch other events and support your teammates. So, I was, probably just for the couple of hours while I had to sit there and watch the race, and I was in pain. My hip and cuts and all that were hurting, but then I think it all went away pretty fast, and there's nothing you can do to change it. But I think I'm thankful that it motivated me to want to go to another Olympics. I thought that I was going to stop after London. So, I think if I raced and went well, I still wouldn't be here doing it. And I'm really happy that I'm still racing and training. And, I think for me, I probably want to stop after Rio. So with that thought, I really enjoy every part of this, knowing that it could be my last year.
Yeah, so, given everything. And so you mean to say, Moffy, I felt more pain for you longer than you did, because you were over it in 3 hours. It took me probably 3 weeks.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 months.
I had parties to go to, things to do.
We should have this conversation earlier. I was quite concerned for you for a while.
No, I was fine. I was just disappointed that once again my whole family travelled all the way from Australia to watch me race, and they saw me come out of the swim, and that was about it. So, I think probably just disappointed as well for everyone that put so much into me. My coach at the time, Craig Walton, had put so much effort in and got me there, and there I was thinking I was in great form, and just excited to see what you can actually do when you get to your fittest, and then that was just all taken away from me. So it's probably, I dealt with it pretty fast, but I probably felt just a bit guilty for everyone around me that had got me there, and all the time and effort they put in.
Which the irony is that it's the last thing they would have people would just feel in for you, knowing the time you put in and the things you sacrifice. So it's funny, isn't it, how things can be processed. But I think it's a real credit to you, and certainly it's an inspiration for lots of eyes that watch you and look at how, follow your career, that, you back up, you're off the, back on the saddle and going for it again. So, you've certainly got a generous following of people that, admire for how you handled it so well. So very good. So, Moffy, is there a favourite training session of the week for you? If you could pick one session.
I seriously love them all. Probably the hardest for me is to get out and go do half an hour jogs in the afternoon, which are just like my recovery runs. They're probably the ones that, I don't like. But my favourite, I don't know, it's hard. Probably like running. Tuesdays head up to the spit and do a hard run. I probably enjoy that, and just being able to jump in the ocean afterwards and cool off. And that's pretty good. But just because it's running as well, you always know you've worked really hard, you get all hot and sweaty, and just probably a nice feeling once you're finished. But like I said, I enjoy them all, whether it's a hard ride or a hard swim. Every time you finish, you feel good once you've done it. So
is there a session that you I know you said you enjoy them all, but a session that you kind of like each week, you got to get yourself up for, because it's like a bit of a harder one, or one that you don't look forward to when you know you've got it?
No.
Obviously you enjoy it once you finish it, but no?
No, like I said, you get so much variety within doing a triathlon that it's nice. It's like you wake up, you're like, oh yes, I have running this morning, or it's like, oh, I've got swimming today. It's always changing. So I don't ever really get too bored of it. But it's probably just my easy jogs in the afternoon that I'm like, oh, I just don't want to do this.
What don't you like? What don't you like about it? I thought easy jogs would be nice.
Oh, but I don't know.
Because you feel a bit tired and flat.
At the end of the day, it's still hot, and you're just like, ugh. But once again, you go do it, and you're like, I feel heaps better after that. So. And so if you can't give me a favourite training session, what's your favourite food? Favourite training food? That I eat while I'm training, or just
in general, to fuel your training?
To fuel my training? Yeah. I don't know, I love Mexican food. But I love so much food. It's probably why I train, is so I can eat lots and lots of food. But
food's the real driver, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fighting my obesity. If I don't train, it won't be pretty.
You can have a skinny glutton.
But no, yeah, I love Mexican. I love going out for breakfast. Love bacon and eggs. Love a curry. I don't know.
How do you have your eggs done?
Depends. Fried, scrambled or poached, whatever.
So fried, yeah. And what's your signature meal you make? Do you do much cooking?
I make rendang curry.
Rendang curry?
Beef rendang.
Oh, sorry.
Beef rendang.
I was like, that will Google recipe.
No, it's on the internet. And it's delicious. It's just in the slow cooker, so you can make it in the day after your first session, and then you don't have to worry about dinner because it's slowly cooking all day. Slowly
cooked. And, beef. And Moffy, I've got to ask you, talking about the internet, I remember seeing on your social gallery, I think it might have been Instagram, a photo you had with Usain Bolt.
Yeah.
How did that one come about? How did you... That was, I think, the MCG?
Yeah,
if I remember.
I was at the AFL Grand Final in 2014, and he was just sitting in, like, the next row across from us, and at the break, I was like, oh, my God, there's Usain Bolt. So I made a beeline, and he had a security guard, and his security guard said, no, ma'am, he doesn't want any photos. And I was like, but you haven't even asked him yet. He's just sitting there. He doesn't know. And then him and his mate were trying to take a selfie. And I said, I'll take the photo for you. It'll be much better if you take a photo with me and Usain. And he said, okay, deal.
So you negotiated?
I negotiated, yeah, because I didn't want to, do the walk of shame away without no photo.
Well, you would have been bad, head down.
Yeah.
You were evidently starstruck, were you?
Yeah, I think I was. Yeah.
And you hadn't met Usain at the London Olympic Games?
Nah, I watched him. I watched him at Beijing and at London, but never went up and said g'day.
So you watched the finals with his win? Yeah,
it was pretty incredible.
Yeah, wow. Yeah. So did you tell him that when you got your photo with him?
Nah, I'm not sure if I could really talk. I actually think he had his earphones in the whole time. He didn't want to talk. He was bored.
Well, the photo looked like you were best mate.
I know. Photos tell a million lies.
Is there another time you've been starstruck in your life, even outside of sport, meeting someone?
I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. I don't know.
Only Usain.
Yeah.
That's what it takes. Okay,
yeah.
Cool. So, Morphy, I didn't ask at the start, how did you even get into triathlon? How'd you start?
Yeah, as you know, I'm the youngest of four and grew up in a tiny little town, so there wasn't really much to do there other than sport. So, I grew up doing surf club, and then Chris, my oldest brother, started doing triathlons, and Nicole and Beth also did them, and I just seemed to, I think, just follow those three and everything they did. So I don't know if it was really an option for me or not. But
you were just dragged along.
Yeah, I just kind of followed in their footsteps, and by the time I was 16, 17, I probably started enjoying it a little bit more than surf club. So I just decided to do triathlon, and didn't think too much of it, just didn't really know much other than sport growing up. So I just, picked that sport. And then, when I was about 20, 21, I think that's when I first did my first World Championships, and, just decided to go from there.
What's the first race you ever won? Ever won? I
think maybe when I was in year 7, the all-school state.
Oh, yeah? Yep.
I might have been in Penrith by then.
The regatta stand
or maybe,
there?
No, it was somewhere else, yeah. And I just remember going into the race and Beth and Nicole and Chris teasing me because I was really tiny and small, and there were all girls that were much bigger than me, and they were teasing me, saying that I was going to get last. So
girls!
I think I was race terrified. I didn't want to get last, and then I got
you come with a win.
And, I got to go on to nationals, and that was pretty fun. So
was that then at Penrith that same year?
1997 it would have been. I think it was down in Melbourne.
Okay,
yeah,
I remember there's a photo somewhere I've got here at home of the New South Wales junior team, and I was years older than you, but you were that little girl that was in the front row with your hands on your knees at the good old school photo pose.
Yeah, I was.
Makes me laugh. So you were a little Moffy then.
Yeah.
And so, Moffy, if the current you could speak to the 20-year-old version of you just getting into the sport, what would be the one bit of advice you'd give her?
I don't know. I think I always had pretty good advice from everyone else, so I don't know if my advice would be pretty good. But, I think just enjoy it, and that's what I've always done. I've just always made sure I've enjoyed it. If I haven't, I've made little changes so that I knew that I could enjoy it. And, I think just being consistent. So, I don't really want to change anything, and I don't want to speak to me because I'll probably screw it up.
So enjoy it, be consistent, and take advice from good people around you.
Yeah, just be smart about it, and it's not the end of the world if something doesn't turn out as it planned. Yeah,
and that's I've always from the relationship we've had admired your your ability just to move on from things like London. It's terrific. So that's part of I think your in-wide personality. I don't think I've ever known you not to be smiling and laughing. So it's probably has really helped along the way. What's if for the non-professional athletes listening to the show, trying to get their best performance, be it in triathlon or whatever it is, running or swimming, surf, what would be one tip you'd give them to help get it?
Yeah, I would say be consistent and have a goal that's achievable. I think you see everyone go out in their first week of, I'm going to get fit and I'm going to do this, and then by the second week they're either injured or tired or sick of it. So I think just, slowly build into it and just, take things slowly, because you're probably going to have a better longevity if you do it that way, other than rushing in and thinking you can conquer the world in a week. So, be consistent and probably get a group of people to do it with. You'll find it a lot more enjoyable.
Yeah, great advice. And Moffy, is there any regret you've got through your career to date?
No, nothing. I wouldn't want to change anything because, I'm really happy with where I am right now, and, just happy. But, don't want to change anything.
Great. That's a good place to be. What's on your bucket list personally, beyond triathlon? What would be one thing you'd really love to do?
At the end of this year, I really want to go around Europe for 3 months in a camper van with my boyfriend Dan. So I think that would be pretty amazing before real life starts. I just want to have a good holiday, go adventuring.
So that's it, planned for the end of the year?
Yeah.
Because your boyfriend Dan, he's also undergoing potential selection for the Rio Olympics, is that right?
Yeah, for kayaking. So he's got first selection race next weekend in Adelaide, and then a few weeks later another one in Perth. So he'll get to know just before me if he's in the team or not. So hopefully we can both go to an Olympics together.
Wouldn't that be special? And what kayak event does Dan paddle?
He's looking to get in the K4 1000 boat, so the team boat.
So 2 potential Olympians in one home in 1 year. So it's going to be a big year, hey?
Yeah. So we're both excited for it, and it's pretty exciting.
Very exciting. Well, Moffy, thank you very much for your time. I know you've got another 3 sessions to get done today on top of the run, the podcast GM in the middle. So really appreciate your time, and I know the listeners would certainly have really enjoyed that behind the curtain look at your world. So thanks for sharing so openly.
No worries. Thank you for having
me. So there you have it. I trust you enjoyed this episode and the interview with Emma Moffatt. If you did, I'd love it if you could jump over to iTunes and leave a review. Reviews help enormously in making the Physical Performance Show more visible and able to be enjoyed by more peak performers. If you've already left a review, a massive thank you. If you are yet to leave a review, please jump over to iTunes and drop one. If you've got any questions or comments regarding today's show or guest, please shoot them over to my Twitter account. You'll find me at Brad_beer. If you'd like more physical performance tips, jump over to pogophysio.com.au and subscribe to our weekly Pogo Press. You'll also get yourself 2 free chapters of my Amazon running and jogging bestseller, You Can Run Pain-Free. Until next time, keep pursuing your physical best performance. I'm Brad Beer, and this has been the Physical Performance Show.